So, while making this video, I realized I had watched 50 animes in 2022. Many were worthwhile and very enjoyable, but there were also unexpected disappointments. As a whole, the entire year was great for anime. Sequels were very hype in their own rights, but 2022's new animes outdid the sequels. Let us begin the video through the romance genre. As we progress into the 2020s, there is a significant decline in interest in the romance genre. The 2010s were dominated by the romance genre. In this year, there were not many, but it did have two decent romance anime. The first one is Shikimori-san. Izumi-san has the worst luck. He keeps having these accidents, ranging from tripping to life-threatening accidents. Though, he might be the luckiest as he has her as his girlfriend. Every character in anime has a dere type. If you learn different dere types, it is pretty easy to imagine how a character behaves. Mangakas usually study the dere types before making the characters. It is a formula that has been working for decades. However, neglecting split personality characters, I have never seen a character exhibiting two different dere attributes. Even Google is confused because she is not a yandere. Then, what is she? The answer is, she is a mix of kudere and dere, who are known to be opposites of each other. Imagine a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is the coolest and 10 is the cutest. Well, Shikimori-san can be a 1 or a 10, depending on the situations she is currently facing. It's like she constantly has a switch that she turns on and off. When protecting Izumi, she becomes the kakoi person, but in a day-to-day interaction, she is a bisojin, sometimes shy and sometimes jealous. Keigo Maki does a wonderful job of merging different personality traits into one. For me, the character analysis of Shikimori-san is a very interesting topic as I have never witnessed this type of character in an anime. In the story, she feels the most real. From a real-life perspective, she is in the top echelon of an ideal girlfriend. Speaking of the top, the next romance anime has a female lead that is on the top of many people's list. It is My Dress-Up Darling. My Dress-Up Darling introduces to us the best gairu of all time. There are many good gairus out there to the point where even the side character gairu like Manbagi outperforms other anime's main female lead. They are that good of an archetype. So choosing the best among them was a very heavy ordeal. That was the case until Marin Kitagawa. Kitagawa was love at first sight for me. She is a dere, which is usually the popular character. However, when she projected her love for anime and doujins, it was one of the most beautiful things to see in 2022. I have always loved seeing characters speaking about the things that inspired their goals. So, to see how speaking about anime culture did hit home for me. And then flipping the coin towards Gojo's passion for Hina dolls, which I am not a fan of, but can appreciate the lengths he goes to for achieving his standards for it. Yes, Marin is the highlight of the anime, but Gojo made My Dress-Up Darling special. This moment was so heart-wrenching, but also so inspiring. Gojo's commitment was the thing that made me love My Dress-Up Darling. A decent romance anime must have top-tier females, but for the best of the best, the male character must also be top-tier. And I think Dress-Up Darling falls in that category. I had zero qualms about Season 1 because it made me fall in love with not only Marin but also Gojo. It is so difficult to write a pessimistic character with zero unknowns, but Gojo being pessimistic was the best boy. I think Season 1 of Dress-Up Darling is a perfect 10 out of 10 for its writing and character introduction. I seriously do want to hear the criticism of this anime because I cannot think of one right now. To me, the must watch of 2022 in terms of romance is My Dress-Up Darling. Now, to shift the focus from the romance genre to its cousin, the harem genre. Harems are so hard to nail. While making the video, How to Create an Ideal Harem, I realized how hard it was to check every box. Check out that video because in that I explained the top 3 harems of all time. This year welcomed double digits of harem, but only a few were decent. I will ease your pain of watching every harem of 2022 to only watching the best from them. To start, let's discuss the Emminence of Shadow. Emminence of Shadow was such a fun experience. I was disappointed because at the time of making the Idol Harem video, I was not familiar with this anime. Right after uploading that video, I started reading the manga of Emminence of Shadow, which made me realize how good the manga was. It is one of the few overpowered main character anime with a decent storyline. It is about Sid, who originally was on Earth and was trying to be this Superman kind of figure. He trained himself every day, but no matter the training, it was never possible to conquer an atomic bomb. So after he gets reincarnated into another world, he attains magic which enables him to conquer those bombs. That is the origin of the famous line from the anime, "I am atomic." Not gonna lie, I was convinced that the line would be very cringy, though it was pretty funny for me. The writing was not frustrating as well. The most frustrating problem of a harem is an oblivious main character. However, the author of the anime justifies the obliviousness of the main character, making it far less frustrating. Sid is a Chunnibyo. He wants to be a superhero who operates in the shadows. He roams in the dark, keeping his identity hidden. He kills bandits, but does it in a cool fashion. On one of the bandit hunting days, he encounters Alpha. She was heavily experimented on. Her appearance reminded me of Made in Abyss episode 9. Sid uses magic to heal Alpha. After this, Sid makes up this story to give a reason for his kindness. Alpha is completely deceived by this. She wants to help Sid in his endeavors, hence she becomes the first member of Shadow House, along with Gamma, Beta and Delta. The Shadow House main aim is to destroy the plans of Diabolos. Sid's interaction with the Shadow House members, as well as with Princess Alexis and Rose, were so fun to watch. Who would not laugh at 100 secret techniques of being a mob? The writing is very convenient for Sid, but you can neglect it for most parts because of the hilarious moments they create. As a whole, Emminence of Shadows is not for all because of its over-the-top humor, but for me, it was on the better end of the spectrum. The next harem anime to talk about is Engaged Kiss, the anime that surprised me the most in 2022. So I was Engaged Kiss because of this, and especially those. I thought it would be another trash seasonal ecchi anime. However, episode 3 changed everything. I never thought that this kind of anime would birth psychological questions. I do not even know how to explain the story of Engaged Kiss because the twist was so great and I do not want it to be spoiled. So in the world of Engaged Kiss, there exist demons that give powers to humans along with conditions known as contracts. The contracts vary for each demon. The main character is in contract with the devil Kisara. I won't spoil what he sacrifices for the powers, but because of losing it, he slowly loses his humanity. It was so interesting to see him losing himself. Also, all the harem members have had relationship with the main character. Unlike having ambiguous relations, it approaches relationships in a toxic manner. That was very refreshing as all harem protagonists are sigmas. The conclusion of their relationship was convenient to the plot, but it was not as frustrating. Overall, if you want to watch a harem with underlying psychological themes, Engaged Kiss is the anime for you. Engaged Kiss does have action sequences, however, there is much left to be desired from it, which segues me to the Shounen genre, known for its action and fight sequences. This year introduced us to one of the best shonen animes, Chainsaw Man. 2022 cemented MAPPA Studios as the best studio. I love MAPPA's art style, especially when it adapts the shonen genre. Kon was one of the highlights from 2022. The concept of devils and their powers were so unique to me. The system is similar to Engaged Kiss, where you have to sacrifice your body parts to the devil. In return, you are gifted with special powers. Those powers are some of the most unique powers I have seen in a shonen anime. We go from chainsaws to blood manipulations and whatever Makima's is. The aesthetic of Chainsaw Man is one of the best in shonen. The design of devils is unlike anything I have ever witnessed. They keep getting more Chainsaw Manly as we go past the material of Season 1. I especially want to appreciate the workers of MAPPA when they reveal the power of Makima. Makima's power is by far one of the most memorable from a modern shonen. The airy background music and how people were squashed, it was a masterful sequence of scenes. Another charm of Chainsaw Man is its characters. In my humble opinion, Chainsaw Man has the best main character introduction from a shonen. In 11 minutes, I felt sympathetic towards Denji, which is a tall order for many shonen mangakas. Some can do that even after 300 plus chapters. Also, the female cast is immaculate. The controlling Makima, the sloppy Konbeni, and the human with the highest IQ in anime history, Power. These three were a joy to look at. I appreciate the mangaka's vision in each character. Shonen is a huge dumpster for cliché characters. Why change what's been working for decades at this point? However, Chainsaw Man has set itself apart from its rivals. Like in all of shonen, if a relevant character dies, the upcoming arc is surely going to have a revenge plot. But Denji has no emotions towards the death of characters. He is numb to his emotion and hardly feels grief. And if you have lived how he has lived, it is not that surprising. When life dumps you grief, one after another, there is a point where you grow used to it. Denji is a prime example of the numbing feeling. Denji's personality is the driving force of Chainsaw Man. The main trope of shonen is having an impossible end goal, but that is absent in Chainsaw Man. Rather than drawing a tangible goal, the mangaka chooses to have a vague goal for the franchise. The goal is to have a good life. A good life is a very subjective topic. Denji thinks that if he has a girlfriend, that concludes he has lived a good life. But we as audiences know that it is not the definition of a good life. A good life is to be fulfilled. Denji has a void in his heart ever since Pochita became his heart. So what I think Chainsaw Man's end goal will be is that Denji will try to reverse every death in the series. Chainsaw Man hides deep themes inside its action-packed story, which I am a sucker for. Right now, Black Clover and Chainsaw Man are the modern big three. I still am waiting for the third spot and hopefully it will come soon. The next shonen to highlight is Blue Lock. This anime aired around the time of the World Cup. The 2022 World Cup was the best World Cup I have ever seen, and I have been watching football even before I watched anime. I was always a Messi fan, so could not have asked for a better end to the tournament. Blue Lock hyped me up for the World Cup. One of my favorite dialogues of 2022 came from it. Ego's psychology was the thing that got me hooked to Blue Lock. He says that strikers like Ronaldo are on a different pedestal because they are egoist. The Japanese playstyle is very herbivorous, so there is no presence of egoists in Japan, hence the reason for their losses. For me, his reasoning made sense. If you look at the top players of our world that take an offensive role in their team, the majority are egoist. Ronaldo and Jordan are prime example of this. There is truth to Ego's words, but Shigeri flipped the script on us. When Shigeri said, "But Messi, Ronaldo and Cantona haven't won a World Cup," it sent shivers down my spine. Yes, after 2022, Messi became the world champion and rendered himself the best of all time, but before 2022, neither had won the prestigious World Cup. It countered Ego's previous claims of having an egoist striker to win a World Cup. Back in 2014, Argentina lost to Germany in the finals, who at the time, if memory serves correctly, did not have one egoist striker. That dialogue made me love Blue Lock. I am really curious how the mangaka will make the best Japanese team. How will Ego make Japan win the World Cup? That reason is what drives me to watch this anime. It gets my stamp of approval, and I recommend anybody that loves football to watch it. My opinion is that the team should be strong overall to win games. Without Emi Martinez, the goalkeeper, Argentina would have lost the game to France. But on the flip side is Ronaldo, who has always carried his team to victory. In football, you do not win by defending, you win by scoring. I see truth in both of these concepts, so it is difficult to say who is right. I'm curious how Ego will justify a clear-cut answer to these vastly different strategies. Except for Basira and Ego, none of the other characters have wowed me yet. But I do hope I come to love the team as much as I love all the Karasuno boys from Haikyuu. Those were my thoughts on Blue Lock, but now let's hop to my favorite genre in anime, Slice of Life. In my top 5 list, the majority of the animes are shonen. However, the shonen genre feels like a house, while Slice of Life feels like a home, if you know what I mean. Slice of Life always gives off cozy vibes. I am the most me when watching a Slice of Life, and these are my recommendations for the 2022 Slice of Lives. But first, I quickly want to mention In the Heart of Kunoichi Tsubaki. I watched this anime because its mangaka is Soichiro Yamamoto, who drew Teijin Master Takagi-san. The Kunoichi anime would have been a recommendation, but it lacked one thing. That is a solid male protagonist. This anime has some strong characters. After watching 13 episodes of it, except for her, I have come to like everyone from the village. But there was not a romance subplot which made it subpar. However, it is good for a casual watch because I did enjoy it. There were many okay slice of life this year, but none come close to the two I am about to discuss. Firstly, it's Spy Family. Do I even have to say anything? I feel like everybody has talked about this anime. It went viral ever since the first episode. The plot of Spy Family is good, but the characters of it are wonderful. Yoru, Lloyd, and Anya were such a joy to read. All of them had compelling character traits that stuck close to my heart. Let's deep dive into the family because there are so many things to talk about them. Firstly, Lloyd. I must say every man desires to be like Lloyd. He is a contender to be the coolest character in all of the animeverse. The way he carries himself is just chef's kiss. He executes missions in such a beautifully casual way. He is considered one of the best spies as he has never failed a mission. The mission he was assigned to was to fix relationships between the two factions, and now you might have been scratching your brains as to why he became a spy in the first place. Well, it was to stop this. To not let kids go through things he had to go through as a child. That is the main reason for his brilliance. His backstory hit me more because of recent events. To think that people are going through this right now is a scary thought, and I hope this never happens in the future. Lloyd was great, and I really did not think we would have gotten someone that would have been on par with him in this anime, but also was I wrong. Kudos to the mangaka for designing this outfit. At first, my thoughts on Yoru were that she is a typical kudre, but her backstory changed that thought. Her parents had died off early in her life, so she had to take a parental role for her brother Yuri. This panel in the manga was so sad. You know what she had to go through for her brother's education. She never wanted to be an assassin, but the situation led up to that conclusion. She became a top assassin through her hard work and effort. Though, what truly made me fall in love was this part of the anime. That scene made her a lot more relatable. Finally, the last member of the family, Anya. Anya easily was the reason for the popularity of this anime. This expression was the selling point of Spy Family. I mean, who could hate Anya? She radiates such positive energy, it's just infectious. She always has a smile on her face. Also, her inner monologues are such a joy to read. But you should always be vigilant to the optimistic ones. In my experience, the ones who smile all the time are people who cry the most as well. Anya lived in an orphanage. Her most desired thing in life was to be a member of a family. When she meets with Lloyd, it was an instant click. He was her chichi before it was official. It's here that I should bring up that Anya has Esper powers. Scientists of Spy Family have cracked the code for Esper abilities. Anya has the ability to read the thoughts of a person. You might think this is the ability I would like to have, but it did not come to fruition without sacrifices. Anya never had the right to play. As a kid, she could not have fun. No kid should ever be in a situation where they have to hide their tears. That scene made Anya a top character. See, there is time given to each member, which made me love the family even more. People think that a family consisting of an Esper, an assassin, and a spy is bound to be great, but what is great about it is how human and relatable the characters are. It's something you don't get often in anime. The next recommendation I would give for a slice of life is Call of the Night. Call of the Night, in a word, was a vibe. The background music, the background itself, and how the characters were drawn, it was in a true sense a work of art. I think the characters and the plot are not that great, rather, it's how they were presented that made it unique among its competitors. The relationship between Nazuna and Ko is something rare to see in any anime. Even before the anime announcement, I was reading Call of the Night and I can at least confirm that their relationship grows to be something special. People, especially those that live in a hectic world, will appreciate this anime. The charm of Call of the Night is that it makes you lose your instinctive emotions. I lost my phone on a public bus. I had to reset passwords and go to the police station. It was one of the worst days I have gone through in my life. The very next day, Call of the Night aired and my stress was hugely minimized. It just makes you worry a tad bit less, which is why I love Slice of Life in the first place. For me, Slice of Life is escapism, and Call of the Night as well as Spy Family played great roles in that. So, these were all the new animes I would recommend. I did watch most of the anime of 2022. The animes with a fairly decent traction that I did not watch were Lacroix Recoil, Boichi the Rock, and More Than a Couple Less Than Lovers. 2022 was packed, so much so that we have not even discussed the sequels of 2022. I do not want to detailedly describe them, though a basic rundown of the dungeon is the beautifully emotional Demon Slayer, the campfire stories of AOT, the inspirational classroom of the elite, and the wholesome Mighty Master Iruma-kun. I would like to shout out Shadow's House as well because I feel it is criminally underrated. There will always be a special spot for teasing Master Takaki-san in my heart. Komi-san was a great watch as well. And lastly, shout out to Kaguya-sama for publishing my favorite episode of 2022, the rap episode. So to end this video, I would like to ask you a question about your favorite anime of 2022. Hope you expanded your dungeon as I have this year, but for now, this will be Dungeon signing out.